Hello and welcome back everyone, it's Angela here. So lovely to have you again. You know, I do love spending time with you guys, and I hope that you have a nice cup of tea or coffee or a nice cool drink, or you're following along with me so that it feels like we are visiting each other, because that's really what I think of when I'm talking, well, effectively here to myself, but I am imagining that I'm there with you and we're crafting along and having a nice time. Right, today I'm going to show you a little project which is in my second signature here, and we haven't done anything yet with the front bit over here. So this is that sort of stony color neutral page, and this is just the book page that's in the front, and I will end up probably putting something simple on that side there. So we're going to have a look at what we're going to put in over there, because I do like to have sort of like a signature piece at the front. So let's do that, and let me put this aside. That being said, I have got myself a little envelope here, well, quite a fat one. It's a mailer, and I'm going to give you some dimensions, but of course any mailer size is going to work as long as it's going to fit into your journal when we fold it, as we will be folding it. So that's the most important bit. This mailer measures 6 1/4 inches by 9 1/4. So that effectively is 23.5 centimeters by 16.2. But as I say, I will be folding that. Now what I've done is I've taken my craft knife and I've effectively trimmed off a little sliver off the side here so that it opens on the side there. This is an actual mailer. I think it's my mobile phone bill. I always slit my envelopes at the top so that I can use them, and then I have also opened it up and taken a sliver off the bottom as well. So effectively when we open this up, you only really have the envelope attached on the side there. So you're going to have a big piece like this. All right, so that's what we're going to be doing. Now we will fold it. So guys, go and see the envelopes that you have, and I encourage you to use those mailers. It's one of my top frugal tips. I use a lot of packaging and things. Nobody would ever know any different, but they were surprised when I say, well, this is a mailer, or this is a kitchen roll, or whatever it is. What we want to do is, this is your actual fold line there. We want to make sure that we fold this over so that it's going to fit into our book. So the base of this here needs to be no more than, what did I say it was? I've forgotten already. 15 inches. We don't want it to be more than about 14. So from the actual fold line there. All right. So I would encourage you to make a little pencil mark. So let's say we do it like there. I'm going to make it 14.5, and in inches that is 5 3/4. All right, so we're going to just fold this over like that. Right, okay, now let's just check. I would suggest you do this. So if I open this up, I want to just check that that base piece is going to fit, and you see it's a bit wide. So I don't think I folded it properly on that line there. There's the line. I'm going to just move that over to the actual line like that. All right, so that was what I said to you, 14.5 or 5 3/4. Let's just check. Yes, all right, there we go. That is now going to fit onto the page like that. Okay, right, let's move that away. First things first. Right, so we've got that bit done, and you might want to make that a little bit shorter. You might want to, I might trim that off at some point. Then what we've got here is, I want to fold this bit so that I cover, I'm going to make a pocket here. So I've got, that's the edge of our fold line. I have put it right into our fold line there as much as I can. So just left of it, so it's not going to hamper our fold line like that. Make sure it's straight on the bottom. And I did do this quite a few times when I was trying to work it out. So I've got quite a few fold lines, but that doesn't matter. All right, so just make sure that's there. Now this will be slightly longer when I fold this back like that, but I'm quite happy with that. So we've got that there. This is longer than that by about an inch, so that's great. So that's really the structure of what we're going to do. But before I stick this bit down, you'll see I've got the window there, and I want to just stick down a little scrap of paper because I don't want to see O2 shining through. So I think what I'm going to do is, just had an idea, I'm going to place this over the window like that, not into your fold line again, that's where the window is. And then I'm going to just take this and make sure, now don't go too close to the edge just in case it's going to, you know, spill over. I hope everybody's doing well and having some fun crafting and relaxing. Gosh, summer's here and the heat is on. So, you know, we've got to just take it easy. Don't forget the sun cream for those of you enjoying summer. Right, I'm going to fold this bit down now. And with any luck, that should have covered that window. Yes, that's just the back bit. Okay, so we can open that up now, and there we go. Right, so that's done. We don't need to cover the rest, you're not going to see it, so that I'm happy with that. Okay, now we can go and stick this down. So we are going to put a card in there, so I'm going to just do this on the edge like that. It's a shame my Specsavers people aren't sending me reminders anymore, because I really love their envelopes. I wonder if it would be cheeky just to go in there and say, can I have some of the envelopes? The lovely soft green window, you know, they are my favorite. Okay, so we want to just line that up. There we go. And before I cover this, I'm going to take my distress ink and I'm going to just put some ink on there before I put my paper on the top. So this just makes it a little easier. Sorry if the table's jiggling. Okay, right, so it's coming together. This bit we're going to stick down, but we're going to cover it, and I might trim it a little bit. So let's start with this side over here first of all. Okay, so what I've got is I've got a little piece of background paper. This one I'm going to stick just over here like this. So I have edged it already, and bearing in mind you don't want to go right up into that fold line there. You want to just bear that in mind, but you can stick that down. So that's great. Right, I've got a couple more questions for you today, which I thought I'd share as promised. The very first one that I said I would talk about today are, what are your 3 favorite tools? Well, that was a hard one because I could only say 3, but I think I've narrowed it down to my 3 favorites that I can't live without. Now, I haven't brought in things like distress ink, but you know, I could actually live without distress ink if I had to choose. So I haven't added things like that on there. So that's the first thing, just making sure that's all right. So my 3 favorite tools are, this has to be one of them. This is something I use a lot. You see me using this a lot. This is a really reasonably priced tool. Now this one is one that I've had for, I was given this, it was already old. They don't make them in stainless steel anymore, but it's just a Stanley knife. All right, you get them now, and I think, yes, I've got the new ones here. So if you go and get a new one, they look like this now. It's exactly the same, it's just a plastic outer, and they are so cheap. I buy them at the hardware store. I have tried craft knives. I can't get on with a craft knife, and why do you want to pay more for something you can pay less for? So that's my frugal side coming out. All right, so my tip here would be go and invest in one of these, well, these, and go to the hardware store. They usually come in packs of 3. I can tell you that's a great thing, because I tend to mislay it because it's quite a fun thing. but this is something I definitely would recommend. That's my best tool. I use this all the time and really reasonable. As a newbie, you can't go wrong. Now, when you use it, just make sure that you close the blade, slide it down, and you can't go wrong. I haven't really done too much damage to myself with this. I think I've cut myself once, so that was enough. But yeah, it is sharp, but it's so useful. So that's got to be my favorite tool. I think my second favorite tool, and I'm just going to talk while I'm crafting. I'm just going to stick down this piece here. My second favorite tool has to be my sewing machine. I love my sewing machine, and I was always an avid sewer. Yeah, I'm going to just trim this down a bit. So I think that sewing on paper, I love the effect. If you're not a fan of that, then fair enough. But you know, it's not difficult to learn how to sew on paper if you've never done it before. It's easier than sewing on fabric, I think. All right, just take it slow and start with straight lines. So that's my advice to you there. But sewing machine and sewing around things just gives it that elegant finish, and I like that. So that has to be my second favorite tool. Yeah, so many opportunities, and oh, it's just amazing. Now, I don't have a fancy sewing machine. If you go and look on my Amazon favorite lists, I did buy myself a fancy sewing machine, and it's still in the box. I haven't even used it. I've got a Singer. It's a base model. It's got, I think it's got 4 stitches, straight stitch, zigzag, and buttonholes. And one other kind of a funny zigzag. But I promise you, it's all I need for paper crafting, and actually even all I need for sewing. So I do alterations for my children and things. I don't, all I do is make sure that I clean out my sewing machine regularly, keep it well oiled and the usual bits. And I promise you, it's an absolute winner. It wasn't a lot of money, and I've had it for years. So I recommend getting a sewing machine if you like the look of it. But of course you could get away with not sewing things, so you know, it's up to you. So that's the second favorite tool. My third favorite tool, and the last one I'm going to talk about, has to be the Big Shot. I love my Big Shot, and I have been very fortunate in I have 2. One is the hand driven one, so where you turn it round with the handle. But as I struggle with my carpal tunnel, and you know, I found that the amount of die cutting and embossing I do with it, especially die cutting, it was just too much for me. So I invested a couple of months ago with the electric one, and I tell you what a dream that is. So yeah, I do have the electric one. You just put it all down, you press the button, it goes that way, and then you press the button again, it comes the other way, and what a pleasure. So yes, it's like an A4 size. So yeah, I do recommend that. That's got to be the next tool. So those are my 3 favorite tools if I have to sort of narrow it down. I do have lots of other things I like, but yeah, that brings me on to my next question in a moment. So right, I'm going to stick this down now. So I'm going to just, I've got a little bit there, that's just from where I trimmed off. I'm going to just pull that off. And then we're going to just put a little bit of glue here, just to close this up and make a pocket, like that. Oh, a little bit on the top. And thank you to all of you who've left such wonderful messages for me about the Q&A, and that you've enjoyed getting to know me a little more. That is so lovely of you, and really so heartwarming, so heartwarming. I felt I wanted to share even more, and I can tell you it wasn't easy for me to share it, because I am quite a private, introverted person. So I do really appreciate your support for that. Okay, so we've got our little pocket there while that's drying. Now I'm going to take, I've got a little bit of this ribbon that came from Plum Boutique, and if you bought those packs, I think they were in there as well. I'm going to just take, I've got myself a new Sugar Bell bottle. The other one I absolutely could not open, and it started leaking here. And I've got one of these. So we're going to try it. That took weeks to arrive, but it's here now. So let's give it a go. Right, so I'm going to just put in some Fabri-Tac here and get this stuck down. And I thought I wanted to have it so that it peeks through here a little bit. So I don't want to cover it all up. So that is where I want to get it. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, so let's get some of this down. Right, so yeah, so the next question was, looking at my list here, what do I know now that I wish I knew as a newbie? Wow, that is an interesting one, whoever gave me that. I would say the first thing I'd mention is don't go and rush out and buy everything you see people use on the YouTube videos. I would recommend that, because I did do that. And, you know, most of the things I never ended up using, or I forgot about the tutorial I saw the person do, and they ended up just clogging up my space and never being used. So that's the first piece of advice I would say. Don't go and rush and buy every single thing you see. Go and decide, start small, all right? So it's hard not to be influenced by other people. I know that, but I'm talking now especially about tools and materials. I would suggest starting off with basic things. Go and look around the house. This is when you start off. Go and look what you have. Go and gather things that you don't have to pay for, and go and get yourself a craft knife, a ruler, a pair of scissors, and go from there. All right, you don't need to have all those things. And then start small with small projects. Go and make yourself some tags as a starter. That's a good one to start with. It is, you know, and then take it from there. Then move on to maybe an altered envelope, or, you know, something simple, and take it from there. So that's what my advice would be, is don't go and spend loads of money. Sort of get into it, and as you feel the bug, and as you think, oh well, I think I'd like that, and I could make use of that, and you develop your style, then go and buy things that you feel you'd really like to have. So that's, you know, I have collected things over 3 years now, and it's 3.5 years that I've been crafting. You can collect a lot of things, even things from around the house, in that time frame. So that's my advice. I'm going to stick a little sentiment here from my ephemera and sentiments pack for the Lilac Lovelies, and that is the kit I'm using today. Birds are singing, and I'm just going to put that, well, this one is in the working position, so we'll just use this here. Yeah, so that's my advice. The other thing is something, I don't know, this is just my personal opinion, but I would also say the first journal that you make, don't go and sell it. Sorry, Gina. Gina bought my first journal. Nothing again. You know, you're so excited to do these things and you're excited to sell it, but I would say, and I'm sure Gina would say this herself, you know, don't go. I had nothing. I had made loads of journals and sold them all, and I had none of my own. So if somebody asked me what I did, I never had a single journal to show anybody. And I think that I was sorry about that. So, you know, the first one you make, keep it. I think that's important, all for me. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, yes, a very, very important thing. Believe in yourself, because that's something we often don't do, you know. And I think that's important to remember, that we are just as good as anybody else, and don't always put ourselves down. So that's my advice about what I wanted to tell you as a newbie. Let's carry on with this. Right. We're going to do this bit first now, so that I can get to the front. Right, now for this bit over here, I've cut out a piece that's going to go in here like that. And again, you don't want to get it jammed into the fold line here, so just be mindful of that. I might need to take a little sliver off here, which I will do. But what I'm going to do with this piece is I'm going to take my sewing machine and sew a line down the middle here. All right, you don't, mind you don't have to sew a line, but I'm going to just sew a line in the middle here, and probably right around the edges. And then that line is going to give me some guidance. I'm going to make 2 pockets here. All right, so you don't have to sew it, but I've chosen to sew it. All right, because I'm going to make 2 pockets here. So let me go and do that quickly, and I'll see you guys back here in a moment. All right, so you can see I've just sewn a line in the middle there. I've done the sewing right around it. Now, if you don't sew, if you want to do this straight onto your page, you can sew this to this before you stick it down, and then stick it down. So that's up to you. All right, so I'm going to stick this down like this, and remember, you don't want to get it jammed into the edge there, otherwise it's going to prevent the bending. And then this line in the middle is just going to give me a good indication of where I need to glue. But as I said, you could just draw a pencil line on the underside, and you could just do that and not have to sew it all. So it's purely personal. So we've got that there. We're not going to glue down this side where we're going to have the pockets. So I'm just putting some glue either side along this stitched line here. All right. Now the open side, so this edge here is not stuck, and you want to put it onto this side here. So let's just get this lined up in the corners first, and over here, and then we can check we've got it as we want it and stick it all down. So there we go. Okay, and just press that down with our bone folder. This is another great tool. That would be number 4. You know, these are really reasonable, and I've used it for all sorts of things. So yeah, I do recommend it. Okay, so we've got that, and now this should lie nice and flat as well. Okay. Oops. Okey-dokes. So we're coming along here now. Now we're left with the top bit. Right, the top bit. We've got a pocket in there. We've got 2 in there. We've got 1 over there. Now we're not going to have any more pockets. You'll be glad to know. And what I'm going to do is use a pile of scraps now. So I'm going to just open that up and start with the scraps. So I'm going to just pull them out as I go here. Got them next to me just so that I can see I've got them in the right order. So let's hope I have. Right, I'm using scraps from the Lilac Lovelies background pages, and also some of my collage pages. So this one's from the collage page, and I'm going to stick that straight across there like that. Okay, so don't need to really do that. Okay, let's get this down. So I have torn it with my fingers. You know, a torn ruler is lovely, but I end up tearing most things with my fingers, and you get just as, you know, with practice, it does a great job. Now, talk about practice and being frugal, because that's one of the questions as well today. I would say that if you're not sure about something you want to try, before you go and climb into your paper, the printed paper or your digitals or printed kits, take scrap paper, even if it's newspaper. You're going to get black all over your hands with newspaper, but any kind of magazines or anything, try out the folds or whatever it is that you want to do with that kind of paper. And then when you feel comfortable, this is as a newbie, and I even do it, you know, when you feel comfortable, then go and take what you've just learned and use your actual paper that you want to use. That is a good way to try out things that you want to try. So that's my advice on that one. And I do have quite a few tips. I am an avid recycler, so I like to recycle, as you know, mailers, any kind of envelope. I collect all the kitchen rolls, the toilet rolls, I sanitize them all and I use them. You can use any sorts of packaging. It doesn't have to be recycled. We do have recycled packaging. It gives us a lovely ivory finish, and I know that not everybody in the world has that, but look at packaging that comes from gift packaging. It doesn't only have to be food, and look at it and look at it in a new way and think, what can I do with that? Because you'll be surprised. So that's the other thing. I think this is now from my freebie that you would have seen from my Facebook group. That is what I suggest. I think that look at things in a different way. Anything that you get that might be construed as crafting, you can make it crafting. So you'll be able to gather lots of things from the home. And if you don't have things, thrift shops or stores, I was trying to say, or the charity shops, the car boot sales, you know, all those places that you know about already. eBay is a great one for buying secondhand things. Amazon is a great place for buying secondhand books. Go and ask in a charity shop if they have any damaged books, because they're not going to put those on the shelves. And ask them, and you'll be surprised that they will often have a box at the back that they would happily throw away. So go and ask and they'll give you those, or really you'll end up paying next to nothing. So don't be afraid to explore those sorts of avenues. I would definitely recommend that. So that's another frugal way. The other thing is, if you print something out and you haven't got it quite as you want it, you know, don't think, oh, well, that's a waste of paper. If it's something that you, if it's a sheet that you going to possibly use for a sheet of paper that you're going to stick down like this, or ephemera where you're going to stick it onto something, reuse that sheet of paper. So that's another tip. Don't just think, oh, that's a waste now. No, it's got another side, so use that side. You know, again, with clothing or fabric or anything where you can pull off the lace, the buttons, or use that item in your crafting, do so. You don't have to go and buy fabrics. Most of the fabrics I buy, most of them, not all of them, are vintage or recycled or, you know, something like that. And those make the best fabrics, I think, too. I mean, we're making vintage journals, so you do want to look for something like that. I've got loads of buttons. You know, you can collect all sorts from house clearances and all sorts of things. You'd be surprised what you can find. So yes, what I'm saying is a lot of these things are secondhand, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I think that would be my answer for tips about being, you know, saving money and things. And yeah, you can make your rubbish into beautiful things, or other people's rubbish. They say, what is this? So how does that saying go? One man's meat is another man's poison, or something like that, isn't it? What one person sees as trash, we can see as, you know, a potential journal, a beautiful one at that. So yeah, don't be put off by that. You'd look at all your packaging and things now in a different way, I'm sure. Even the Amazon packaging I find really useful, and I've made beautiful things with that as well. So, you know, there's just so many things. There's lots of things in the kitchen that you can use that really, you know, like brown paper, grease proof, and all that sort of stuff, baking parchment paper, all of that sort of stuff. Wallpaper, go to the sort of home stores where they sell wallpaper, often they have scrappy bits there, or quite large pieces, you know, maybe even a yard long or a meter long. Go and get your allocations there. Even the paint chip samples, you know, there are so many things that can be picked up for next to nothing, honestly. Right, I want to just put this one down here, over there like that. Okay, so you can see I've made like a little collage here with scraps, and that's looking lovely. We are going to put a card in the back there, so that's going to look even better. Right, going to stick on some of these die cuts, and I haven't used this one for ages, and this is just on a sort of a neutral cream or beige back tone. I'm going to stick that down just like that. So let's do that. Yes, crafting is an amazing hobby, and you know, there are no rules, and the opportunities are endless, and I get so much satisfaction from transforming something that would have ended up in the waste recycle or the bin. So, you know, I keep all the acetate windows from things, from packaging. I have had friends and family that, you know, that live around me here, that will drop things off that they think I might use. They will ask me, Angela, do you think that you'd like this? And, you know, 9 times out of 10 I would. So, you know, get everyone on board. My children, from a young age, when I was scrapbooking, they knew that if they saw a bit of a ribbon, Mum might need that. They still will ask me. Now, with us, we get, when I buy a new item of clothing, I often have these ribbons that go into the shoulders to hang up your clothing, you know. But most of the items I don't hang up, they're folded up, like if they're cardies or something like that. And I cut off while that item's just arrived in my house. I cut that, it's usually satin ribbon and lovely and thin and great to add to tags or things. I save that, you know, so because I know I'm never going to use it to hang up anything. I want to just put this a little higher. I'm going to just put that over there. So I've got this lovely colour coming through. We're going to pick that up with a bit of lace in a minute. And then, of course, I've got, what would my day be without a butterfly? So we didn't have one yet. So this is the first one. So there we go. Isn't that adorable? Where do I want you? I'll put you there. Okay. And then I've got 2 little bits of lace here again, so just want to take off that. I've got this lovely teal one. This also came from Plum Boutique, and so did this, and I just love this. But I'm going to layer it a little bit, so I think we're going to put this one sort of about there, and I think I'm going to have to just trim this off, which I'll do when I get it stuck down, and then I'm going to put this one just layering it over a little bit here. Okay, so let's start with this one. Right, let's get this one down then. Just want to trim this one's edge. And as I said, most of these come from Plum Boutique, and if you buy those packs that Vanessa puts out, I think it's all in there, which are really great. Okay, so I think that's about straight, and I can just trim that off now. All right. Okay, so that will do its little thing. Just get this up. Right, where am I now? So I've got that there. I've got this done there. I've got a little bit I want to put on here. So my last little stint. So I've got this little bits. I've torn this off one of my collage pages. And this. Love the font on that. Got a little butterfly there as well, and one of these little die cut daisies. So I'm gonna sort of just get this like this. So we'll start with this one. Okay, so if you have got some lovely thrifting ideas, I'd love to hear what you guys think, what your suggestions are, because you know we can all learn from each other, and I think every day is a school day, and I love hearing what you guys have to say as well. So tell me what your favorite tools are as well. I'd love to hear that. I need to catch up on my messages. I was doing such long replies to my messages. It's taken me a long time, so I do apologize, but you know I will get to it. Right, let's stick that one down there. Okay, and then I thought I'd put one of these this way. Do I want to put it underneath? I do. So I'm going to put this little old stamp underneath. It also helps to keep this in place, but I just love this color because we've got it popping out here and there. So I'm going to put that one there, and then I'm going to stick the little daisy, and I love this cardstock. This comes from the pad of paper I showed you, DCWV cardstock with pastels, and really handy. But of course I love my basil as well, but this one isn't basil. This is from that pad. Okay, right, we'll just layer up here. We're just giving a little bit of interest on this inside page, so we'll just stick that down. I have been pressing flowers. I don't know if you've seen, I mentioned about having some wildflowers around you in the parks and, you know, there's the fields. I've been collecting some of those just to press, and my dear friend Hilda has had some wonderful ideas on how to do that in the microwave, so I gave it a go yesterday, Hilda, and it worked beautifully, so thank you for sharing that. Yeah, so we're going to do something with some of those. Right, I'm going to get this stuck down, and then we can get this finished off. Right, I think we'll have you this way. I'm not going to put a little pearl there because I want it to lie pretty flat. Okay, so we've got everything in place here now, and I'm quite liking how that's turned out. So, right, let's get our little goodies here. So, we have got this card. Now, this card came from a mini page. Now, I didn't have the mini page here, but it's this one, but half the size, which is part of my journal kit. All right, so you'll have this half the size, as you can see. So it looks like that, two of them like that way. So I've taken that bit for the card, but in the mini size. And then on the other side of the mini page, so the whole page is that size, I've cut out the little tag. So you've got a bit like that, and then this tag here came from that piece there. All right, so that's what I've done. I kept this bit to show you. So we're going to use this here to put into our pocket here and show through the window. If I can ever see where the pocket is, of course, you know. This is why the bone folder is a great one. Right, so we've got that there, and we can stick that down in there. And there we go. We've got that beautiful visual coming through. Then on this side, we've got the two pockets over here, and that's where one of those tags and another one of these tags were. I've used the script ribbon, which I thought I'd just bring in some neutral. There's a lot of purple and stuff going on, so I'm going to just stick this into this pocket here, and this one into this pocket here. All right, so we've got that turning that around. Okay, I didn't try that in a right good angle, did I? And then over here in this side, I've just taken one of my ephemera cards, which I've stitched around. I've backed them all with the paper you've seen that we're going to stick it on. And then that's just another ephemera piece as well. And I'm going to just put those into this pocket here. So not too much going in here. You can add more notes and things as well. And then that's going to be in there, and that's pretty flat. Look at that. And then this one is going to be at the back here when we stick that down. So that's going to be a lovely piece. Now you could cover the back here and send this on as a lovely happy mail. I think that people would adore that, of course, but you know, this is going to go into my journal on this occasion. So let me grab that book quickly and we'll get that down. All right, I've pulled out that page there from my journal. I have now stuck on double-sided tape here, and I'm going to try and get this as close to the bottom, just leaving a very small piece, and of course on the edge here. There we go. So we've got that all in place like that, and then we're able to slide this into the back there, and it just brings that little pop of color to the top of that page. So now I'm able to take this here, I'm able to put that in, and that's one we made before, and there we go. And then everything will go into place as we wanted it. That's one of those little bits from previous, so that's got to go onto the back there, and there we go. Right, how lovely does that look? I love that. I hope you guys do. That was fun to make. You've got lots of writing space here. You've got your beautiful tag at the top there, and I just love that. I've got this underneath there. All right, that's better. Okay, everyone, I hope that you've enjoyed that. It was a lot of fun to make, and I hope that you're going to give it a go as well. As I say, keep hold of those mailers and use up all those scraps and create something beautiful. Nobody would ever know that this has come from a mailer. All right, so I hope you've had fun with me. I look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday with another little video, so look out for that. And next week we will be making a start on our wildflower journal, so look out for that. Keep safe. Thank you so much for your wonderful encouragement and support. You know that comes straight from the heart. I value every single one of you and all that you have to share with me. It's amazing. Yeah, keep on doing that, and until next time, bye bye.